Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Just a heads up, I am nursing a cold, so my voice might sound a tad off today. Hoping you won't mind. Let's start. First off, my life took a crazy turn when I had an unexpected encounter with none other than our very own office Queen Bee Karen. I was in my office one day sipping on my coffee when suddenly my stomach decides to launch a revolt of its own. I mean, we're talking rumbling, grumbling, and all-around discomfort. I start sweating bullets and my face probably was beet red. This is no ordinary tummy ache. I shoot a glance towards Karen's office, debating whether I should interrupt her so important conference call. I gather my courage and make my way there, trying to walk as if nothing is wrong. Hey Karen, I'm really not feeling well. Do you think I could leave early or maybe call for an ambulance? She looks at me like I just asked her to solve world hunger.
Oh come on, you can't be serious. We have that big presentation later. And you want to leave early? Just suck it up and get back to work.
My stomach crumbles again, this time more violently, and I cringe. Karen, I am really not exaggerating here. I think I might need immediate medical attention. Karen lets out a sigh and rolls her eyes.
You're always making a big deal out of nothing. Fine. If it'll get you to stop bothering me, call an ambulance or whatever, but you better not be faking it.
With that, I turn and hurry back to my desk. I call for help, explaining my situation as clearly as possible between waves of discomfort. They assure me an ambulance is on the way, and I try to find a bit of relief in that. But then Karen's voice pierces through the office, loud enough for everyone to hear.
Seriously? An ambulance? I hope you're not planning to bill it to the company. We have budgets to consider, you know?
I couldn't believe my ears. Was she seriously more worried about the company's budget than my health? I mean, yeah, she's entitled, but this was on another level. My coworkers start exchanging awkward glances and I just wish the ground would swallow me up. Finally, the ambulance arrives, complete with the flaring sirens and flashing lights. I am whisked away on a stretcher, feeling more embarrassed than ever. I glance back at the office building where Karen stands, arms crossed, looking absolutely unimpressed. Like, come on Karen, could you at least pretend to care? At the hospital, I go through a series of tests. It turns out I've got a nasty case of appendicitis. The doctor is quick to inform me that I need surgery like yesterday. So they wheel me into the OR and I'm out like a light. Fast forward a few hours and I wake in the hospital room, groggy and sore but relieved that the pesky appendix is finally gone. My family and friends are there, but then the nurse comes in and hands me my phone. I check my phone and find a voicemail from my boss, and I decide to listen to it.
Hey there, heard you had your appendix removed. Pretty dramatic way to get out of the presentation, huh? Anyway, since you'll have some downtime, could you work on the presentation slides? We need them by tomorrow morning. Thanks.
I stare at my phone in disbelief. Did she really just ask me to work on a presentation while I'm lying in a hospital bed, recovering from surgery? You okay? My sister asks. Yeah, just Karen being Karen. I reply. After that crazy hospital ordeal with Karen, I decided enough was enough. It was time to take matters into my own hands and bring the higher-ups into the loop. So I hatched a plan. One that involved sending an email to none other than the CEO of the company. I mean, come on, if anyone needed to know about the toxic behavior going on in the office, it was a big boss. I drafted an email, keeping it polite but not holding back on the details. I explained the entire incident with Karen, from her refusal to call an ambulance to her audacious request for me to work on a presentation post-surgery. I attached screenshots of her texts and that lovely voicemail too, just to make sure the CEO got the full picture. The subject line was simple: concerns about managerial behavior, and off it went. A while later, I am back at my desk trying to focus on work when I get an email notification. It's from the CEO's office. My heart starts racing as I click it open, and there is no turning back now. The email thanked me for bringing the matter to their attention and requested a meeting. I walked into the CEO's office kinda nervous. There is Karen sitting across a fancy desk, looking as though she's been caught in a storm. The CEO, a no-nonsense guy, doesn't waste any time. He says, "Thank you for coming in. I've read your email and reviewed the attached messages. I have to say I am quite disappointed in the behavior described here." Then he turns his attention towards Karen, who's suddenly looking anywhere but directly at him. "Karen, care to explain yourself?" She stammers.
I didn't mean for it to come across that way. I was just under a lot of pressure with the presentation, and I didn't want the team to be disrupted.
He tells her pressure doesn't excuse treating your colleagues poorly. The way he handled the situation was unacceptable. Your behavior reflects poorly on the company, and I'm disappointed in your lack of empathy. Karen's face reddens and she starts fidgeting with a pen. She can't seem to meet the CEO's gaze, and her attempts to justify her actions fall flat. Then he strikes. Effective immediately, you'll be relieved of your managerial position. You'll be moved to a different department and your new role will not involve any supervisory responsibilities. Karen mumbles something that might be an apology, and I watch as she leaves the CEO's office, her head hanging low. The CEO then emphasizes that I should always feel comfortable speaking up if I encounter any further issues in the workplace. I nod, then walk out of his office after thanking him profusely. Turns out sometimes entitled bosses do get a reality check. Just remember, always speak up. Hello everyone. You know how wonderful it is when the sun is out, the birds are singing, and the kids can't wait to jump into a cool pool? So that's the start of our story. Me, my husband, and our little one chose to go to the local pool for a day of splashing and laughing. We were ready for a picture-perfect day. We found a nice place by the pool, spread out our towels, and got our little one ready for some fun in the water. Who could blame her for being so happy? Kids and pools go together like peanut butter and jelly. They are a classic that never fails to please. Another mom came along after a while. She was there with her cute little girl. They looked like they were also ready for some water fun. They sat down next to us and it looked like we were going to have a great day at the pool. Our kids got along like old friends. They splashed around, raced each other, and made up all kinds of games to play. Then it was time for the mom next to us to take a break and grab some snacks from the cafeteria. When her daughter didn't want to leave the pool since her mother won't be around to keep an eye on her, at least till she gets back, she managed to convince her to play with her water gun outside of the pool until she came back. The little girl seemed happy enough as she squirted water here and there. Then, just as we were enjoying our day, Karen walked in. You might be asking, who is Karen? Yes, that's the name that has come to mean selfish and dramatic, and she lived up to her title too. Karen walked over to the little girl with her own child, following close behind like a little storm. She had the famous "I'd like to speak to your manager" look and an attitude that could peel paint off the walls. She asked for the water gun as if she deserved it because she wanted it. You could almost see the little girl's brain working as confusion washed over her face. She paused, but then she stood up for herself and refused to give up her favorite water gun. But Karen would have none of that. The situation got worse quicker than a water slide. Karen's voice got louder and louder until it hurt to listen to. And before we knew it, she had taken the water gun away from the girl, and in that process, she scratched the poor kid, which made her tear up as it should have. Our little hero wasn't going to let herself lose. She got up the courage to ask Karen for her water gun back, even though she was crying and sniffling. At that point, I was proud of her for not backing down. Karen couldn't just give up like any normal person would have. No, that would be too simple. She decides to turn up the drama all the way. She got so angry all of a sudden, then she shoved the little girl with so much force right into the pool. Splash! My husband ran towards Karen as I turned his attention to what was happening. At first, I wasn't really paying attention and thought that Karen perhaps was a relative of the girl. I was just having a conversation with her. That's why I didn't bring myself to interfere all of this time. But when I saw her snatch the water gun from her and then shove her into the pool like that, It left me with no doubt that something was horribly wrong here. I myself ran quickly toward the girl's mom, who luckily wasn't far away. As I told her about the chaos that had just happened, her face changed from confusing to looking extremely sharp. Honestly, it gave me chills. Without wasting a second, the girl's mother rushed to the pool and she looked at her wet, crying daughter and Karen, who was holding a water gun standing there like she owned the world. Then the most epic fight I've ever seen happen right in front of my eyes. The girl's mother did not think twice. She wrestled the water gun out of Karen's hands, smashed it over her head. Yes, you heard that right. And then, oh boy, she summoned her inner Spartan and kicked Karen in the stomach. Karen took off, and I'll tell you, it was a sight to see. She fell into the water with a splash that was a perfect example of dramatic justice. When Karen was out of the count, the girl's mother went to her side and gave her a warm hug. It was a real Mamabear moment. But you won't believe what happened next. You'd think Karen would have learned her lesson after her unplanned dip in the pool, right? Not so much. She came out of the pool like a sea monster, enraged and drenched. And she ran towards the girl's mother like a bat out of hell. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck. You know something horrible is about to happen, but there is nothing you can do but wait. But here is the kicker. Just as Karen was about to lash out at the girl's mother, her feet had other ideas. She slid on a wet place near the pool's edge, and gravity took over like a real MVP. She hit the ground hard, landing flat on her back with a bang. I won't lie, the scene was almost too unbelievable to believe. The kids near us, who had witnessed the entire event, burst out laughing uncontrollably. I mean, who wouldn't, after all? Karen was a sloppy mess on the poolside, looking equally angry and ashamed. Shortly after, the cops we'd called came just in time. They approached the scene, checked on Karen to make sure she wasn't harmed badly, but alas, the fall had taken its toll on her, and they were forced to summon an ambulance. The ambulance came, and Karen was placed on a stretcher, and she was eventually rushed away to the hospital, leaving behind a swarm of amused adults, giggling children, and a poolside that was now mostly dry from all the excitement. Witnesses were asked questions and videos were looked at, and in the end, the girl's mother chose to press charges. And I don't think anyone blamed her one bit. As things got back to normal by the pool, the girl's mother came up to my husband and me. She thanked us for speaking up for her daughter and stepping in right away. We both said we were sorry we didn't do anything sooner, but in all honesty, we weren't sure of who she was and what was actually happening. I tend to be clueless sometimes. Thankfully, by the end of all of this mess, the little girl seemed to be fine. The EMTs tried their best cheering her up when they were treating her minor scratch from before. Oh, one last thing I learned a few days after the incident. Child Protective Services was called in by the police on Karen, cause apparently she wasn't the angelic mother for her son after all. And I can truly hope that things turned out better for that kid in the end. I'm a 25-year-old female and my stepbrother Nico, 29, has recently got engaged to a woman called Jenny after dating for 2 years. We all tried to welcome Jenny, especially knowing that she grew up in a foster care system and didn't have a family. We tried to get to know her, but she seemed to want an instant, intimate connection rather than building one. Me and my younger stepsister Chelsea, 22, bore the brunt of her neediness, but our parents have also expressed concerns. Since she met us, she has been trying to insert herself into pictures, family disputes, and social events. She has no boundaries. We've all talked to Nico about it so many times, even sitting him down as a family, and he keeps saying he will talk to her, but nothing ever changes. And it's got worse since the engagement. She tried to make me her maid of honor, demanded my mother throw her a bridal shower, and started calling my parents mom and dad even though they asked her not to, and reached out to distant family members that we don't even talk to tell them about the engagement. Last week, we were all, Chelsea, Nico, me and our parents, staying at our parents' place. Jenny, Nico and my boyfriend were the only ones not up yet, and the rest of us were in the kitchen. Chelsea, my mom and I were talking about taking a weekend trip, Jenny came in, having overheard us saying it sounded like fun, and proceeded to invite herself along. I was pretty annoyed by this and said she couldn't just invite herself in. Jenny said, why wouldn't she be invited? And I said because marrying Nico doesn't give you a blanket invite every single thing all his family does. Jenny got upset and said she would really like to be included in our family, since it was the only one she knows and she doesn't have a proper one. I said I know that and we all sympathize, but that doesn't mean that we owe you a new one. The whole room was silent and Jenny got up and went back upstairs. She didn't come out the rest of the day, but Nico came down to chew me out over what I said. Our parents defended me, saying he had an opportunity to talk to Jenny and he didn't. He and Jenny left the same day and he is now only keeping low-level contact with everyone. When I've spoken to him since, he's just said I went way too low with what I said to Jenny and that I've set her back mentally and that she's really down. I do feel bad, but I also feel like Jenny has been overstepping. We are all open to a relationship with her. We all have good relationships with partners in the family, but she never really made a genuine effort to build relationships with us. She just decided she was entitled to them, which I think isn't fair. I don't think if I should reach out to Nico or Jenny with a more fervent apology, which I will if I have really screwed up here. I don't want to be the reason Nico stops talking to us. I just feel like he dropped the ball by letting it get to this point. Edit. Okay, I'm adding this because I thought it was implied, but maybe not. We do push back when Jenny is being intrusive. I can't count how many times I have said, Jenny, I'm not comfortable talking about my sex life, therapy, medication and so on. It's really personal. Can we just change the subject? We move on from the conversation, but the next time I talk to her, it's back to square one once again. Same with my parents. They politely ask her to not call them mom and dad. And she stops for the duration of that conversation and then starts again next time. We've never had a more in-depth conversation with her. We offered and Nico said no, that he would talk to her. Edit 2. For everyone saying I should consider Jenny family because she's engaged to Nico, that isn't what I meant with that comment. I commented this elsewhere, but I'm copying because it encapsulates what I was trying to get across. I never said or meant that she isn't part of the family. I guess what I meant was what I said was, you can't parachute yourself in and expect us to be the family you deserve. Because the family every person deserves is one with their mom and their dad, and it's happy and it's from birth. And you don't have to do anything to earn it. Sadly, not everyone gets that. I know I didn't, and I know how much it must suck for her to feel like she has to work for what other people got for free. I have a crabby bio dad, so I kind of know. You think, why do I have to be good and clever and kind and a million other things to have a good family, while all everyone else has to do is just be born? And it's the worst. But when you come into a family that already exists, that's the way it is. They learn to love you, and it takes time. My stepdad didn't love me the second he met me, or love me just because he loved my mom. He got to know me and figured out who I was as a person, and he loved me for me. We wanted to have that opportunity with Jenny. And maybe that doesn't feel good enough for her, and I guess it's not really fair that she doesn't have the other kind of unconditional love, but I don't think that's up to us or anyone to fix. That's just my view. Oh, that's a tricky one for sure. What do you guys think here? Was OP justified doing what she did? Or was she just plain mean and selfish? I'm really interested about knowing your opinion on this one specifically because I can't really tell myself. Let me know in the comments below.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.